The head of the UN Nuclear Agency is in New Zealand and has met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Nanaia Mahuta, following the release of its latest reports on the decommissioning of the destroyed Fukushima power plant. The report found the dumping of over 1 million tonnes of treated radioactive wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear disaster into the Pacific Ocean will comply with international standards. Lydia Lewis spoke exclusively with IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi.
Why did the IAEA in Japan not take the PIF panel's suggestion to look at turning the treated water into concrete?
Well, it's a vast question. Let me say that what we have been doing, the IAEA, is assess, evaluate Japan's plan to discharge the water. So we are not partners with Japan. The IAEA, as an independent international organization, has been looking at the request of Japan at their plan. The plan includes the consideration of different options which were considered, and two were retained as possible: vapor dispersion and discharge, controlled discharge into the ocean. We assess that as viable options. Actually, the one that has been retained, the controlled discharge into the ocean, is the one that is currently applied by nuclear facilities within well-specified limits for the contents, let me put it like that. So I am aware of this idea that was put forward by a group of experts, independent experts, but of course that was not in the scope of my analysis. But let me tell you that according to our experts, this option in the case of Japan would not be possible. First of all, transforming this water into concrete would release vapor in itself, complicating the problem even further. And secondly, this concrete would become, under Japanese law, nuclear waste, which would not be usable in terms of the economy.
Do you regard the term society as an individual country, or can any country, like Japan, make a decision for everyone?
Well, these actions are based on well-established norms, international norms and national norms. Your question has very interesting, more subjective elements into it, which are fascinating, but the reality of this action is that what they are doing is treating this water, which is the result of an operation in one of their plants, in accordance with their national law and international commitments, which include the consultation, include the ability and possibility to have an open dialogue with others. But when it comes to the decision of what to do, is a national sovereign decision of Japan. They themselves, I suppose, recognizing the implications, the sensitivities, the concerns that exist in this region and beyond, decided, this is why they decide to come to the IAEA and ask, hey, can you assess this? If we do this, what would be the consequences, and is this within the internationally agreed standards?
Concerns have been raised that the standards are outdated. What do you say to people in the Pacific who don't want the release to go ahead, period, and are concerned about the standards?
The standards are well and fine. I have to be clear on this. They are not outdated. It's a very important point, though. Let me tell you why. Some say that, all right, you have your standards. All right, let's assume this water is within the standards. But there are no standards for water which has been contaminated as a result of an accident. You have standards for normal operating nuclear power plants. Let me tell you that this issue was analyzed immediately after the accident, well before the story of the water would be there, because even the Japanese did not know how they were going to be cooling the reactors. At that time, one of the first things that were done was to analyze, after the accident, whether the existing safety standards needed to be changed, needed to be updated, if we needed, and the Commission of International Safety Standards, where all the countries are represented, analyzed this and came to the conclusion that the standards by themselves would not need to be updated, that the parameters that are set there were good enough, because, you know, at the end of the day, tritium is tritium. It doesn't matter if this tritium is coming after the normal operation of a perfectly operating nuclear power plant, or if it comes because this water has been in contact with a stricken reactor. There is the operation, the chemical and physical qualities are not different because of the source. So it's a very valid point, but I can reassure you and the audience that the safety standards as they are continue to be good, and they are continuously being reviewed, I must say. The IAEA and the experts are continuously reviewing the standards.